And welcome back. Thank you so very much for staying with us. It's time for Opinion Court. Please do get in touch with us, 22422. That's our SMS line, and at Citizen TV Kenya or at Citizen TV News. Please use the hashtag Opinion Court. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, it allows us to track your conversation. I will reintroduce my panel to you. Next to me is Wiper's Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. In the middle is Edward Kisiangani, our resident political analyst, and across from me, the national chair of the National Alliance, Sakaja Johnson. You're welcome to the program. So how's everybody's week? How's yours, Sakaja?
Good. The week has been good, apart from yesterday. I interacted with a few young people based on this. There's been this issue of the NTSA rules. Yeah. That they don't want the graffiti on matatus. So I decided to just drive around Nairobi, went to some of the workshops. I interacted with one young man called Moha, of Moha Graphics, who in his workshop has employed 30 young people who paint the matatus and do all that. And I realized that actually there's a problem. We're trying to create youth employment, but some of these rules would actually hamper getting young guys into jobs. And apart from that, the graffiti on matatus has been the culture in Nairobi. The guy was telling me that the people who came from South Africa to look at this matatus, it's part of our tourism. So what I was urging the NTSA is to actually engage with the matatus a bit more. There's some matatus that may have obscene images. They can remove that. Loud mufflers on the exhaust pipes, they can remove that. But let us not kill the culture of the matatu industry in this country and kill jobs for our young people.
All right, that
was the low of my week.
Okay, that was, I guess, your big story for the week. But I suppose now I have to ask everyone what their big story is.
But I'm still on that issue, and we'll make sure we have a resolution. We have a meeting tomorrow with the matatu owners, these designers, as well as the NTSA, to make sure they can keep at their jobs.
All right, Prof, what is your big story of the week? Very briefly.
Burundi and the AU. I have been trying to dissect and to understand the psychology of African leaders. And I engaged my own students about that to just understand whether African leaders have a psychological problem or they are normal. So, and with regard to Burundi, the madness there also were discussing. This is a guy who is very popular among some leaders even in East Africa. So that is what we were doing, but we didn't conclude.
Yeah, Burundi is a big story happening in the continent right now. What was your big story of the week?
My week has been on a high.
Okay.
Until now. Yeah, well.
I hope it's not the company you're presently keeping.
Not at all.
Okay.
Far from it. Okay. Yeah, but I share the sentiments because what we are engaging in very dangerous territory when we pretend that we can walk away from ICC, all is well. It's a lie. We are fooling ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I suppose we'll see how that plays out at the AU summit this weekend.
Apparently, all is needed is to go and endorse that Africa is going to walk out of the Rome Statute.
But it does take each country now to convince their respective parliaments to be able to.
In Kenya, it will take a referendum. So, well, something that we are waiting for anxiously.
All right.
But you also forgot when you introduced Sakaja as the chairman, you forgot to introduce me as the vice chairman.
I beg your pardon. You are the vice chairman of the Wiper Democratic Movement. I stand, sit correctly.
But I hope I can get a commitment. Mutula is a friend of mine. He's a young leader. I want him to stand with me on this issue affecting young people, especially young people in Nairobi.
All right. How about you guys discuss that after the program?
No, I want a public commitment.
No. You're bulldozing my show. All right. Tonight on the program.
There you go.
Tonight on the program, we are discussing political party legislation reform that is in the offing. As I said before you went to the break, the Parliamentary Justice and Legal Affairs Committee is proposing that all political party nomination disputes be handled by the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal as opposed to the IEBC. That is just one of various recommendations that are being made. The other that is rather interesting is their bid to have the law also altered to allow MPs to hop from various parties, and that's drawn mixed reactions even among members of parliament. I'll start with you, Deputy Chair, is it? Vice Chair, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I disagree entirely. I've been fortunate enough to have represented, in fact, two people in the last disputes handled by IEBC on party nominations, the political parties tribunal has not impressed me in the way that it has handled political parties. To that extent, I don't agree. Two, I strongly disagree with the party hopping. Speaking as national vice chair and speaking as a person who understands that the future of this country lies in having strong political parties and not people wearing this sort of cloth that one day you have of this political persuasion, the following day you are in the road to Damascus, you've changed your mind and you've become of another political persuasion, to the extent that we have people in my own political party, which is a movement, forming other movements. That cannot be allowed.
There are movements within Wiper.
There are movements within Wiper movement.
So where is Wiper moving to?
You're wondering where those people are moving to.
But is that then not the problem of Wiper Democratic Movement as a party not having perhaps a solid or robust enough sort of party structure or ideology to keep its members loyal?
It's the regulations. It's the fact that the Registrar of Political Parties has been unable to discipline we leaders in political parties, that we can stand up and make pronouncements against our parties, we can stand and vote against our political parties, we can stand and say that I have now defected to another political party without necessarily having to go back to the people who gave you the contract to ask for a vote. Is something that we should discuss, because in Article 91 and 92, the concept of what Kenyans wanted in the Constitution is to have a political movement that is regulated. What we have is unregulated political movement.
All right, so Sakaja, he's talked about a failure from the Registrar of Political Parties.
Yes.
Is it about the office holder, or is it about the regulations within which she works?
First of all, the first provision that you talk about the disputes being handled by the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal
and not IEBC,
is not new, because that is what the current case is. If you have a dispute within the party, it's first handled within the party. From the party, if there's no resolution, you move to the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal, and then if there's no resolution, and if someone wants to appeal, then they go to the High Court. That's already the procedure that is there.
What on nominations?
Even
on nominations?
Even on nominations.
Nominations, the first point of call is IEBC.
No, you know, you're not the vice chair, but I was even chair in the last election, and the first port of call was internal party disciplinary process. Once you move from there, you still go to the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal, which is actually sort of like an offset of the IEBC. It's actually an offset of the IEBC. When you go to the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal, I remember, for example, the Wamboi case. You know, it went to the Dispute Tribunal. There are a number of cases. From there is when you cannot go to the High Court straight. So the IEBC itself doesn't handle the dispute as a commission, but the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal, which is an offset. The point is this. The law has been there. The law is there now. The problem is enforceability. How do we enforce this law? For example, when you're talking about party hopping, the law is very clear that and one of the ambiguities that was there, first of all, before even the clarity, is that if a party enters into a post-election coalition, according to a current law, a member is free to say that they're part of that coalition or independent or part of another party. So there's that lacuna. That's why even the members, for example, within Jubilee, who, because we signed post-election coalition agreements with the money, with actually 10 parties. So there are members who, after that, felt that, for example, Boni Khalwale of UDF, but he didn't agree with it. So he's free to be, ODM, Senator Kaniri, etc. They're free to be there, and you can do nothing about it. But ODM and Wiper and CORD didn't sign any post-election coalitions. So the procedure is that if you have a member, for example, the one who has a movement within your movement, that is moving somewhere, the first procedure is not the Registrar of Political Parties. Actually, the Secretary General of your party should write that he has deemed, or that member is deemed to have resigned from the party because he is participating actively and promoting the formation of another political party. So you don't expect the registrar, and I'm not, here holding brief for the registrar's office. The first action must be the party itself writing to the registrar and saying this member ceases to be a member of our party.
What about in the case of the Kilifi North MP Gideon Mungaru? ODM stripped him of his whip powers, etc. We still have not seen action from the registrar.
It's not the registrar. They stripped him of parliamentary duties. They did not remove membership.
Why did they remove? Yes, in the National Assembly.
They stripped him of parliamentary duties. But we have not seen even within ODM, the only party probably where you've seen any disciplinary procedures happening is Jubilee and TNA for that matter.
No,
like who? Who did you discipline?
No, disciplinary procedures. We've disciplined many MCAs. They are taken members of parliament through disciplinary process. Moses Kuria involved. The outcome is a different matter, but the procedure is there.
Isn't the outcome the point? Isn't the outcome the point?
It's not a procedure if you've predetermined the outcome.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody can come with his lawyer and somebody else comes with their lawyer and argue out, that is a disciplinary procedure. If you're predetermined, you don't need to take them through that. But in the case of Gideon Mungaro, ODM has not removed him as a member of this party. Why haven't they done that? Because they know that if they go to a by-election, when he loses his seat, they will lose because of the popularity.
So you're saying parties not the failure of the registrar's
parties
office.
might not speak, should not speak from both sides of their mouth. You want this thing enforced, but you're the one holding the trigger and the button. If you actually want to discipline your members as Wiper, discipline them. If you want to discipline your members as ODM, remove them from your role of membership. They lose their seats. But then it's a political cost that they are not willing to actually take because of the prevailing political
circumstances. Is it hypocrisy on the part of political parties?
Yeah, you can see from this circumlocution coming from what? Circumlocution coming from the two members of parliament. I think you see, this what you are hearing, Annie, is a reflection of the political immorality of the political class. Because what they want to do is to find a way out and get into power dishonestly. And you see, if we are going to talk about party hopping, I think we should widen the laws and to include any member of the public can walk to the Chief Justice and ask that the Register of Political Parties has not done her work, and therefore so-and-so is performing the duties of another political party, he should not be there. Let us not leave it to tribunals, because at the heart of this debate is the Constitution, and whether we are honest to the Constitution or not. So when you allow people 2 months, 3 months to the elections to hop from one party to another, what you promote is you weaken the political principles angle and then strengthen the political promiscuity. So people keep moving from one place to another. Yes, that's the point.
Political promiscuity?
Yes, that is the point. Wow. Where you know you appear that you are loyal to one political party
for
so long as it's fair. It favors you, but you are sleeping in another room with another political party. So this one must come to an end. So really, the amendments would be okay. But one of the things that Parliament would do, even before we started this discussion, I had talked to these honourable members. I've suggested that the best way to go about it, to leave complications aside, is to suggest a law which says that once you move out of the political party, you can only be allowed to stand for elections after the most immediate election. If, for example, there are people who are planning to go to CORD from Jubilee, and those moving from Jubilee to CORD, we can tell them, yes, you can move to another political party because that is within the Constitution. But if that is going to be the reason why you want to stand for elections in 2017, we shall allow you to stand for elections in 2022.
But is it the real issue, Prof, that even within political parties, quote-unquote democracy is in there, that you are forced to toe a party line, no matter how unreasonable that line is, or no matter how far the departure is from what the party promised at the time of, going into the elections. And so basically party leaders can come up with whatever wild, things that they want, their MPs to do, regardless of whether it even adheres to the party constitution. That's why the quote-unquote rebels are saying, look, if I want to work, for instance, with the president because it brings development to my area, that is not against the spirit of my home party.
Annie, you are right. You are right. People can still move from one party to another with whichever promise that comes out. But the reason why people say, we are being oppressed in one party, so we are moving to another one. There is nothing about the development of Kenya. There is nothing patriotic about it. They are looking for money. Yeah. So really, if they are looking for money, these guys are rent seekers, and everywhere. So there is nobody who is interested in whether Anne will get water or not. If you hear that the likes of Mungaro and company have moved from, they are now working away from ODM, it's probably Jubilee is providing more money to them. So really,
that's an allegation.
By the way,
that is very unfortunate.
Let me tell you,
let's see.
Those people belong to a party.
Needs to substantiate.
They belong to a party I call the Tumbo Party.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a Tumbo party.
It's a
stomach party. Because really, if you read our constitution very well, the constitution did not envision a situation where me being in the opposition and Sakaja being in government is a contradiction. It is not a contradiction that I will be in the opposition, because he doesn't enjoy any other privilege other than the fact that his office is next to State House than I do as a member of Parliament. The fact of the matter is this, that when somebody goes there and makes a pronouncement that I'm going to work with government, what are they saying? What in essence are they saying? They're just saying that they're going to be walking into government offices and walking out with brown envelopes. Period. Because if it's something that ought to be performed by national government, it's not going to be performed better simply because you are in bed with government. It still must be performed. We are looking for a situation, myself, where people from the opposition will be able to go to court on the matters on the Bill of Rights, like health services, and make sure that those rights are justiciable. Means that you can go and take the government to court and say that we have not received services. That is what is called...
And they don't need to quote-unquote work with you.
You don't need to be in a Tumbo party.
You don't need to be in a Tumbo party.
Let me say this. First of all, I'm very happy. If you see the kind of bitterness that is evoking, given derogatory terms being used to describe other parties, it shows that actually politically we're being very successful. But the same Bill of Rights...
Oh, are you the Tumbo party?
Yes,
is that what you think?
no, he said it's Jubilee. The same political parties, or rather the same Bill of Rights that he is talking about, provides in Article 38 of civil and political rights that anybody is allowed to associate with any political party they need for their reason. I think it is not fair on national TV for someone of the caliber of Professor Kisiangani to actually, and even name somebody else. You know, I mean, that is libelous. To say that this person, the reason why this person has moved from the party to Jubilee is because they're receiving money. But first of all, that is not right. But number two,
that was his allegation.
It's an allegation, and you're very fortunate, before you interrupt me, that you're sitting next to a lawyer, because he can actually do that for you. He can represent you. But
very shortly.
But the point is this, Anne Kiguta, political parties, the reason why you have these challenges is because many political parties have not been able to institutionalize proper nomination procedures. Procedures where if everybody who participates in that nomination process comes out confident that it was free and fair and they lost fairly. If you look at how we have done it in Jubilee, for example, I mean, even just 2 weeks ago, we had a nomination process where one of the underdogs beat the most moneyed, if they were in that Tumbo party, they were probably the ones who would have won, the most experienced politicians, even some who are alleged to be favorites of the system, for a 29-year-old to actually come out and become the senator of Kericho. It's only Jubilee to see that court itself has not been able to provide mechanisms even to do their own nominations. We're seeing them now saying that they want to have foreign experts to do the presidential nominations.
And why not? What's wrong with that?
Because it means you have not created the systems within your political party to institutionalize your party enough to have confidence of a nomination procedure.
Or it means you want to hold your party to the highest possible standard.
The highest possible standard should be the Kenyan standard. That's what we are thriving towards. Even look at where have you seen a history of violence in political party nominations? That is a challenge that we must have and we must create, because the future of our politics in this country is in strong institutions that are trusted and credible. And that's why I'm very happy, and I'm proud to tell anybody who's interested to come to Jubilee that Jubilee is the one party where no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your surname is, no matter how much money you have in your account, you can actually come, and if you win, you get a certificate.
All right, okay, gentlemen, I'm going to come round now for a final round of comments, so please make your responses, Prof, in your final round. Comments. Let me start
I hope it doesn't insult anyone this time.
I'm surprised that Sakaja can talk about a political party. I'm wondering whether he actually has a political party as we speak.
TNA exists, and we're moving to Jubilee Party.
Jubilee Party.
It's happily moving, according to Sakaja, right?
Happily. As per the law.
They have formed so many political parties, you don't even know where they're coming from or going. But let me say this. The future of this country does not lie in what Jubilee is doing in terms of, by the time you acquire power, you change into just another problem, JAP, or something, whatever it is. The fact
just another problem.
The fact is that we must move to the part where the developed countries, you have strong political parties. Every country that is developed today has strong political parties.
That does not require foreign experts.
And you know, well, I mean, standards. It's called ISO standard. You guys don't understand this. Thank you.
All right, Prof. Final view.
You see, the point is, I think Sakaja wants to pin us into a corner to look like we are defending or we are for or against Jubilee. That is not the point. The point we are making is that even when I gave the case of Honorable Mungaro, I was giving him as just one example of how people behave when they move to another party while belonging to another one. And we have cases also of people who are, for example, in CORD, who have also moved over. They are working with Jubilee, but they are also Jubilee fellows who are warming up to CORD. Because, and they will make all sorts of acquisitions. We have a saying in my community, and this is how I would like to end it. They say that when a man is rejected by a woman, they will say that she can even make claims that you are important when you are not important. So really, this is what my community talks about. But now, the bottom line, Annie, is this. We would like...
You know I know that saying.
Yes, you know it. Yes, you know it. So really, what we are trying to do is to create a political serenity within our platform across political parties. We want people to have, yes, political sanitation. Yes, we want political sanitation. So that
like mouthwash.
Yes. When people go to political parties, they must believe in the principles of those parties. Yes. But they must never use political parties within 2 months and then move to another one and then secure their seats.
I'm very glad.
Yes, at a consideration.
Please allow Sakaja, please, very briefly, if you would.
I'm very glad that Prof is really trying to wiggle out of the fact that he actually said very clearly, if you play this later, that the reason why the likes of Gideon and the rest have come to Jubilee is because of money. And I'm glad you've realized your mistake, but just accept it. But number two, let me say this. Institutionalization of political parties starts with that nomination process. And I think all Kenyans, even my 3-year-old son knows that our opponents have not been able to portray that. That's why they're looking for foreign experts. That's why their nominations are always mad with violence. Why not? The point is this. For the sake of this country's political progress, we offer even free services at no charge to teach CORD how to actually institutionalize and to actually do nominations that are free and fair. Because ultimately, the bulk of Kenyans who fear coming into politics, they fear going into politics because of violence. The reason you don't have many women in politics is because they don't want to go through that muck and mire of political nominations that are heavily contested. Evidence of that, out of the 16 women elected in single-member constituencies, 8 of them are from TNA. Why did that happen? Because even the penalty associated with a hint of violence in a nomination process, nobody tried to do that.
All right.
I urge you guys, for the sake of our country's progress, to actually have parties that are transparent, credible, and actually stand for democracy.
Including yours. And I thank you all very much for your views.
We have to show it.
Thank you. Thank you all for your views. And of course, Opinion Court is the only place where you could hear terms like political promiscuity, political hygiene, political sanitation. We'll be back. Stay with us. Thank you.